thank you with your patience learning to how to use that pen tool, and now that you're really good at it, we can actually go ahead and make something. Now this is a truck in blue, which we're going to make, and here is the same truck in black. Now do I care what color your truck comes out? Not really. So you have your choice there, but this is the truck we're going to make together. So let's get going on this truck adventure together. Well, of course, we first need to go ahead and launch Adobe Illustrator, get our program up and running. And we're going to go ahead and reset the workspace. So let's go Window, Workspace, and let's reset Essentials. Your Illustrator will be reacting the same as my Illustrator. Now, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and click on those two arrows because I like a chunkier style of tools. And we're going to need a couple of palettes. Now you noticed maybe on the rims of the tire it kind of had a neat gradient effect, so we'll give that a try. So over in your tools you're going to click on gradient. Now what's really important when you choose some palettes that you want to stay, not dock back into the tools, as you click on the tab that says the name of the palette and you pull it away. We also need stroke, so I'm going to pull stroke away. Now we can just click on these two arrows here and throw it right back into the tools. And let's go, and right here you see a small icon. If you click on that, it says Show Options. Let's go ahead and take a look at what options we have in the stroke palette there. And pretty much always I open these swatches. The swatches that give us the multiple colors. So go ahead and click on that, and again you need to tear it away or it'll tend to go right back into the tools. So there we go, we've got swatches. Again, you're clicking on the word to pull it. What you're doing is tearing it apart from the other palettes that they are docked with. Let's go ahead and open our file. So File, Open, or you can use the keyboard shortcut Command O. Click on Documents. Make sure we're in the same view here. Disclose your triangle, and this one says 07 Truck Project. Go ahead and open that, and there we have a blank document. So we're going to use a tool here that we have not used, and it's actually a shape tool. So you're going to click on the rectangle tool. The keyboard shortcut is M. And we need to think about colors. So I think we're okay to work with black. We can change the colors later on. But go ahead and click on the fill, and let's make that none for now. We'll click on the stroke to bring it back to the front. And we are going to click on that rectangle tool. And let's go ahead and just draw a square. That's a good start on the body of our truck, I'm thinking. Now there's also a square here. I'm going to go ahead and draw that one. And I'm going to show you how we're going to make the color consistent. It's pretty easy actually. So go ahead and draw those two squares. I'm going to do one more here because it's kind of a bumper. And you can go Command plus. I'm going to have to go Command plus and see if I can get that to fit. Now you do have up and down arrows. I'm just clicking on the down arrow. Here's another thing we can do. Let's go View, Rulers, Show Rulers, and we can put that right on there, and that should help us to align this piece here. That looks pretty good. Alright, so I'm just do a Command minus to bring it down a little bit. Now that's not quite looking like a truck, is it? Well, we also have this kind of cab area, and what I'm going to have you do is click just a little bit over, hold shift so we get a perfect straight line. Then I'm going to have you curve it. I'm going to do that a little better. Curve it, there we go, and just click down. I'm going to keep going over here. Click. Now this is very important. Very, very important. We're making a complete shape that we're going to color. So make sure you see that circle. That's the difference between a shape and a line. Well, it'll be fine. I know you're going, I don't know about this, but it'll be a great truck. So we're going to deselect. How do you deselect? Command Shift A, or just hold Command and click. Now, what are we going to do next? Let's go ahead and do the window. So I'm going to click, hold the Shift, click, hold Shift, click, hold Shift. And this one is at a bit of an angle. And again, making a complete shape. Need to see that circle. Deselect, Command click. And we need some tires here. So I'm going to go back to the rectangle tool, hold, and you have a series. You have many tools here, but we're going to go to the ellipse tool, which can also be a circle. And we're going to work on some tires. Now, look at your keyboard. You're going to hold Shift Option. Why? Well, I will tell you why. Shift Option lets you draw right from the center. So draw out. You've got some low profile tires here apparently. And let go of your mouse first, and then let go of the other two keys. Now we're going to do exactly the same thing, but you're hitting that dot. We know that's the exact center, don't we? So Option Shift draws from the center, and that should be right on. Nice! We're getting somewhere here. Now let's work on doing some coloring. Let's do some coloring here. And don't worry, I've got a way for us to do this tire. Let's deselect a tire, Command Shift A. Let's click on the body of the truck, and hey, you use whatever color you want. I'm going to go for the blue truck. Now I clicked on it. Of course, it made a stroke, so I know I need to swap the fill and the stroke. You can use the X on your keyboard or just hit that icon. Perfect. We have got a blue body. Let's click here to select that, and let's make that blue. Again, it's the stroke, so I'm going to have to swap. Now this one here, here's what we're going to do. We are going to make it white for now, just for now. Go ahead and swap it. Oops, didn't get white, did I? There we go. Just white, and we're going to go ahead and apply a gradient to that, but we will do it in just a bit. All right, let's click on this. Give it whatever color you're using. It has to be the same color though. Make this piece blue, make the bumper blue, make sure you deselect. And we have our bumper, which looks like it has to come down just a bit. There we go. Now the tire. Let's go ahead and click on the inside. So you're going to hit the path. There you go. Now I'm going to show you something called gradient. This is fun. All right, bringing my swatches over here. And if you look at your swatches, check this out. That is a black-white gradient, and that's all that I used. Well, I changed it a bit, but I used that. So go ahead and click on that. And what we're going to do is, here's your gradient. Should have popped up. So I actually used a radial, but I did a little bit more. So in your gradient, I just went to a radial. Radial is round, linear is just horizontal, vertical, but it is not a round radial. So I use that. Now there's a tool over here called the gradient tool. Now when you click on that, you get a way to adjust it. So I think what I did was make it something like this. Okay, I just moved it so it looked more like a shiny rim. Now one other thing, I gave it a gray stroke. So you can click on stroke, double click, and just look around for kind of a gray color and say okay. Let's deselect, Command Shift A, and see what we've got. Okay, trust me, it'll get there. All right, I'm going to click on the tire, just swap the colors so we have a tire that is black with no stroke. Go ahead and click on the stroke because I'm going to actually make that white. Go ahead and click on white, and while I'm at it, we're going to go up to the top, and instead of a stroke of 1, let's give it a stroke of 3. All right, now you may have let's go ahead and click on our selection tool, and you may have noticed our rim went away. That's okay. We're going to go Object, Arrange. We're going to go Send Backwards, not to the back. We just want it to go backwards. Now there's something here that I know is not quite the same way as my original truck, was the gradient. Now there's a couple kinds of gradient. I'm going to go ahead and click on the shiny rim. And I'm going to go back, I'm going to go to my gradient palette, and if you notice we have two kinds. We have a linear and a radial. Linear is left to right, up and down, where radial is a circle. It's funny, the radial reminds me of an old Volkswagen rim, so I want something a little bit different. So I'm going to go ahead and choose a linear. Now we have the gradient tool. There's the gradient tool. We can click, and I believe I kind of had a highlight over to the side. I don't exactly remember how I had it, but you can play with it. Now, do I care if you have the Volkswagen looking one or not? Not really. You can do what you want. I just know I had more of this kind of look. More silver. Yeah. There we go. Okay. I'm going to go with something more like that. But hey, personal preference. You do your shiny rims the way you want. I'm going to deselect, Command click. Now we need another set of tires, don't we? Well, here's what I have you do to select the two pieces. Let's go Command plus, blow it up just a little bit. Now what I'm going to have you do is hold down with your mouse and drag. See, we call this a marquee, and you want to just click onto, you just want to clip these two pieces of the tire. I'm going to deselect. If you were to go up into the truck, you're going to select everything. So you're going to click and drag and just select those two pieces. Now you probably remember from previous lessons that if we look at our keyboard and hold down Option, what happens to our arrow? We get a double arrow. What we're going to do now is click and drag, and we have made an exact copy of our rim and tire. So we can deselect, Command click, and that is great. Perfectly. I'm curious to see what kind of gradient I get on your rims, but that's okay. It can be either way. You can do them however you want. Now we're going to work on the window. So go to your selection tool, click on the window to select it. Now make sure your stroke is in front, though we're going to give it a fill also. We're going to again click on the gradient. Now, are you a rebel? Are you going to go for a really dark tinted window and be illegal? Or are you going to just go with the stock here? Hey, that's up to you. But there is how we adjust it, of course. There you go. I'm going to be a rebel. Command Shift A to deselect. Now, I did say we'd give it a stroke, and I had to deselect it. Select it again. Click on the stroke. Let's double click and go for a gray color. Now we can deselect. Oop, you can make it a little bigger if you want. I'm going to go with 2. Command Shift A. And one last thing that I'm going to have you do. Go ahead and click on the line segment tool. We want gray but no fill. So just a gray stroke. And what I'm going to have you do, again, you might have to blow it up, Command plus, is click and draw just a line. That kind of separates the cab. And I'm going to go Command 0 and Control, selection tool. I think you need to go back to your selection tool. Command click to deselect it. And that kind of separates the cab from the bed of the truck. And one last thing, guide, delete. All I did was selected it. I clicked and dragged and made a marquee and deleted that. Wow, that's a good looking truck. That is a good looking truck. Please select your type tool. Click between name and period, 1, 2, 3 clicks, and go ahead and type your name and your period. And what do we always do when we're done with these lessons? Command S. Congratulations on your first truck, I'm thinking, ever in Adobe Illustrator.